Tanse, I'm Kristen Achkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. The Marten Falls First Nation, located in north central Ontario, a community that has been under a boil water advisory for almost 2 decades, has called a state of emergency this week following a recent wastewater spill and ongoing water treatment plant and drinking water issues. Marten Falls called the state of emergency on Monday. Last Friday, there was a sewage spill, and the chief says the wastewater lift system broke and raw sewage has been releasing into the Albany River. The chief says repairs are urgently needed, and it will need to be replaced with a larger, more modern facility to support the population. Their wastewater report recommendations have been repeatedly ignored by the Indigenous Services Canada as their infrastructure is aging and inadequate. The First Nation also says bottled water funding has been completely cut by Indigenous Services since 2022, leaving Marten Falls covering the costs independently and placing further strain on the community's financial resources. The First Nation is part of a class action on safe drinking water, and it has been settled, but the next steps have yet to be implemented. Indigenous Services Canada says it has been working with the community to address the concerns, and the issue of the raw water intake was supposed to be addressed by the fall of this year. About 200 people from the Sheshawan First Nation in Northern Ontario are being evacuated to Thunder Bay due to water treatment plant issues that don't seem to be going away anytime soon. Organizers say the evacuees are expected to stay in Thunder Bay for about 2 weeks until repairs can be made to the water treatment plant. Thunder Bay Mayor Ken Boshkoff said in a statement, the city is happy to extend their support and solidarity to the Sheshawan community during this challenging time and are committed to providing a safe and welcoming environment. Sheshawan is located on the James Bay coast. First Nation leaders from across Manitoba are meeting in Winnipeg today for a special Chiefs Assembly meeting on Jordan's principle in child welfare. Indigenous Services Canada recently released data that showed a backlog of more than 140,000 claims for Jordan's principle. Nissequoyastik Cree Nation Chief Angela Lavasser says it's time to take additional measures to Ottawa.
Let's get on a school bus. I'll be the first person on that damn bus to protest. Let me tell you, the first time that I publicly spoke and protested was during the Oka crisis when I was 13 years old. I'm ready, and we had this conversation, I'll remind you, Chiefs, last year in January. We talked about protesting then. So let's not wait any longer. And until we start making some noise and bringing attention to these issues, these folks at ISK are going to continue to ignore us. And in doing so, they're going to keep violating our rights, disrespecting us, and they're going to keep denying our children services.
On September 9th, 2021, 9-year-old Bailey Maurice was struck and killed by a vehicle while on her way to school. The driver was accused of being impaired, and just recently that charge was stayed. In a press conference on Tuesday, the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations and Friends of Bailey's family demanded justice and called for an appeal on the decision. APTN's Rachel May reports.
Taylor Kennedy admitted to vaping marijuana and microdosing magic mushrooms the day before she hit Bailey and killed her in a crosswalk on her way to school. Kennedy was charged with impaired driving, causing death for having marijuana in her bloodstream. Under Canadian law, criminal trials must end within 18 months. Kennedy's took almost 2 years. Last week, Judge Jane Watton ruled Kennedy was not tried within a reasonable time and stayed the charges, meaning they could come up again if she reoffends. Sarah Smokey Day, a family friend, spoke on behalf of Bailey's mother, Rochelle Dubois.
She's lost her voice, quite literally has lost her voice. From talking, crying, yelling, wanting to be heard. She asked for me to speak for her today because she's lost her voice.
Smokey Day said Kennedy's case should have gone to trial much sooner.
It took too long from the minute Bailey was killed. It took too long for the police to press charges. It took too long for things to get to court. It took too long to settle on a lawyer. It took too long to get through the court case. and the judge was perfectly fine with washing her hands of any decisions.
Craig McCollum, 4th Vice Chief of the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, says Judge Watten's decision should be appealed. He also said that the chiefs have a proposal of its own, Bailey's Law.
There's 6 provisions within it. Number 1 is the prioritization of child victims. In cases where a child under 16 years of age has died as a result of the accused actions, the court must ensure that the interests of the child and their family are given enhanced consideration in both procedural timelines and outcomes.
Other provisions include protection against delays, prohibiting charges stayed in child death cases, tougher sentencing for impaired child fatalities, child victim advocacy, and a reevaluation of impaired driving laws. Since the trial began, Bailey's family has been attacked mercilessly on social media. McCollum urged the people behind the attacks to reflect on themselves before posting hateful comments.
I've seen the comments. It hurts. It's disheartening to know that there are people that have beliefs like that out there. And I would just ask them, what if it was your kid? Would you be saying the same thing?
The family is asking the public to pressure the Crown and Saskatchewan's Minister of Justice to appeal Judge Watten's decision. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
A Northern Ontario agency that seeks to provide Indigenous-led community support is expanding. ISN Musqueam, which is based in Sault Ste. Marie, assists Indigenous communities in leading their own response to emergency situations, including floods and forest fires. APTN's Mike McDonald has the story.
Talk about root causes of stuff in the lab.
This is ISN Musqueam's Indigenous Emergency Operations Centre, which is a first in Canada. It is owned by the Missinaibi Cree First Nation, and one of its main objectives is training community support personnel to assist with emergency response efforts in First Nation communities.
Probably the biggest responsibility bestowed upon us as a chief of a community saying, take care of my people. They give us that entire responsibility to look after their folks while they're off doing what they need to do to keep their community safe.
ISN Musqueam was launched in 2020. Its first hire was Ernie Ludet, an armed forces and law enforcement veteran who now heads the agency's emergency planning division.
When First Nations were getting evacuated, there's been a long history, especially in Ontario, of incidents and mistreatment and sometimes outright racism against people that are evacuated into larger urban settings in Northern Ontario. So our whole goal was to make evacuations seem more like an unexpected gathering.
On the ground are community support personnel who are trained to deal with a variety of challenges, not just evacuation support.
We assist with a lot of first response calls, whether it be to like domestic abuse, drug, alcohol calls, mental health calls. We also do a lot of youth programming within the communities that we're in, as well as helping out elders and that sort of stuff.
And that trust and that communication, that First Nations supporting First Nations is that core value that we live by. And communities and partnerships and again, those relationships are built on that mutual respect.
ISN Musqueam has expanded from its base in Northern Ontario and is servicing parts of northern Manitoba. The Missinaibi Cree First Nation is also working with ISN Musqueam to develop an incident host site on its lands, though that is still early in the planning stages. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Sault Ste. Marie.
A Northern First Nation is making an investment in a Canadian mining company. Takwa Tagamu Nation in the Cochrane District is investing $20 million in the Canada Nickel Company. Both say it will advance Canada Nickel's Crawford Nickel Cobalt Sulfide project in the Timmins area of northeastern Ontario. This is believed to be the largest known direct investment by a First Nation into a critical minerals mining project. And from our In Case You Missed It file, after one of the most tumultuous few days on Parliament Hill in recent memory, MPs are now officially on a holiday break.
I declare the motion carried.
They voted in favor of adjourning the House this week, with the votes being 177 to 140. MPs are not slated to return to Parliament Hill now until Monday, January 27th. We now want to tell you about this week's web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, do you think the federal government should establish an Indigenous Human Rights Tribunal? Your answers are yes, no, or unsure. Have your say at www.aptnnews.ca. Coming up next, we'll take you to Regina, where a powwow program is creating the next generation of singers. We're back in about 3 minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back. Since 2017, Mother Teresa Middle School in Regina has been harboring a powwow program, which is now producing a new generation of singers. The group started with 6 members and now includes well over 50. Those involved say it is not just a hobby, but a space to have fun and make lifelong friends. CTV's Mick Fable reports.
The Buffalo Boys Drum Group making a televised appearance for a good cause. For a number of years, the youth drum group has been performing at powwows and events, making a name for themselves and becoming much more than a school program. Those around the drum have been with the group for a number of years, learning the songs and teachings and finding a place of belonging.
I've been drumming with these boys and girls for like a very, very long time. We've all watched each other grow up. I think the main thing that keeps me coming back is the support system.
You create really strong bonds and connections with people through doing these kind of things, and it's so beautiful that I get to have this.
It all begins here in the classroom. 3 times a week, the Buffalo Boys get together, practice their songs, and learn from the drumkeeper, Evan Whitestar. In 2017, at the request of a student, Whitestar started the group with a handful of singers. For him, it's a dream come true, passing along knowledge to those eager to learn.
I get to teach and show everybody the beauty of our culture. I get to teach and show everybody the beauty of our language. I get to teach and show everybody the beauty of watching a young child learn. Like that light in their eye when they finally get it, you know, and I get to empower them.
Throughout the summer months, the drum group hits the road and sing where they can. Parents of the Buffalo Boys have been supportive of the group and have seen the camaraderie grow between its members. A positive, they say.
Being able to see these little boys transition into young men has been amazing. It's a beautiful thing just to see them, like the brotherhood that they have created amongst each other. So that has been one of my biggest happinesses and joys of watching them.
Right now, there are roughly 60 Buffalo Boy and Girl members. The group is becoming more diverse, having youth from all sorts of backgrounds having a try at the drum. With a few grade 12 members ready to graduate, there are many more waiting to pick up where they leave off, continuing a now strong tradition at Mother Teresa Middle School. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Great story, Mick. We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, you can go to www.aptnnews.ca. And you can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. A young woman from the Thunderchild First Nation in Saskatchewan is following her dreams, including recently joining the Toronto Raptors Northside Street team. That interview when we come back. Starting on the east, Halifax sunny and 7, Charlottetown partly cloudy and 5, Cartwright 4, Kuujjuaq -16. Saint-Jovite 2, Quebec City 2. Ottawa 2, Sault Ste. Marie 0. Wawa -5, Thunder Bay -12. -27 in Churchill, Thompson -28. Gimli -21, Winnipeg -19. Regina -24 and partly cloudy, Saskatoon -24. -35 in Uranium City, Buffalo Narrows -31. Grand Prairie -19, Peace River -22. -14 in Medicine Hat, Lethbridge -2. 8 in Campbell River, 2 in Quesnel. Sand Spit 9, Deeds Lake -21. -32 in Old Crow, Dawson -30. -31 in Wati, Yellowknife -29. -20 in Paulatuck, sunny in Colville Lake at -31. Chesterfield -29, Whale Cove -27. And Clyde River -23, Iqaluit -23. Our next guest grew up dancing jingle at powwows across the prairies and went on to study dance with 3 prestigious universities in Ontario. Madison Noon is from the Thunderchild First Nation in Saskatchewan, north of North Battleford. She can now add member of the Toronto Raptors street team to her resume after a 7-hour audition in September that included 400 other competitors. Madison Noon recently spoke to our Dennis Ward from Toronto. Here's that interview.
Madison, thanks so much for being with us here, and congrats on everything. Can you tell us what it was like to be accepted as part of the Toronto Raptors Northside crew?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's such an overwhelming feeling of honoring my people on such a wide stage. And it's just been exciting as a dancer, following my professional dreams. And also it's been such a journey as an Indigenous dancer in this industry, and just being able to really follow my path that I had in mind as a young child.
For those who maybe aren't familiar with the Raptors Northside crew, can you tell us a little bit about them and the journey so far for yourself?
Yeah, it's been such a journey. That's what I can say, in the sense of emotions. My emotions have gone up with excitement. There's been times where I feel emotional, not with sadness, but with happiness. But I've been emotional sometimes before I go on the big court. Sometimes, like in the sidelines, I'm like, I can't believe I'm really here, because I've auditioned for this team for about 3 years. I've been auditioning for the team. So finally being there, it's been such a roller coaster of emotions, and the journey has just been spectacular, to say the least, you know? So, yeah.
You're also a jingle dress dancer. Can you maybe fill us in a bit on how you started out with the jingle dress dancing?
Yeah, I am a jingle dress dancer. I'm from the Thunderchild Cree First Nation. So I started dancing powwow through my family. My dad was a champion drum singer with the drum group High Noon, and my mom was a competitive fancy dancer. So just in that, it just kind of came full circle that I became a jingle dress dancer. And yeah, that's been, I'd say like that was my first dance style, of course, was my traditional way of jingle dress dancing. So I always say I'm a jingle dress dancer before anything.
Right. You recently performed during this year's National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. What did it mean to be part of that?
Oh, wow. That was special. That was a special moment. I worked with Jerry Wolf, and we did a contemporary duet to Tom Jackson, Blue Water. And that was just such a special moment in itself. We danced in front of all of these residential school survivors. And we also, I felt as if the spirits were with us too on the stage. And dancing contemporary alongside Jerry Wolf was kind of one of those moments where it was like pinch me, because Jared was one of my dance judges when I was 12 years old. So he did not know that we were going to be working with each other in 10 years, you know? So dancing alongside him was amazing. And just being in Ottawa and in front of the Parliament buildings and just dancing there, it was definitely something I will never forget. It will be something as I grow older in my professional career, I will talk about that because it was so beautiful and amazing.
As someone who was stage right for that performance, yeah, it was really something special. As soon as Tom started singing there, we were all like, things felt different and strange there for a moment in a good way. I guess, yeah, how did you, like you were jingle dress dancing at a young age, but what drove you into wanting a career in dance and the arts?
Yeah, so I lived in Thunderchild until I would say grade 1. And in grade 1, we moved to Saskatoon. And right then and there, my mom put me into ballet. And then ballet went into jazz, into tap, into musical theater, into hip hop, I feel like once you put your kid into dance, they're either gonna love it or else they're like, not really my vibe. But for me, I instantly loved it. And every year, I just kept adding on dance genres. But I would definitely say I started dancing in my in my room. I would teach myself music videos, Michael Jackson music videos, Britney Spears. We had CDs at the time. So I would put like a Michael Jackson This Is It CD. And then I would teach myself all those choreography. So I feel like at a young age, definitely something was getting started for dance.
Awesome. It was cassette tapes for me back in the day. What's your message to Indigenous youth out there looking to follow their dreams?
Oh, I would say follow that path. I always, for me, it was something that really helped me continue and get to where I am, was stay true to who I am and be proud of being an Indigenous person. There's always support everywhere. I moved to Toronto not knowing anyone. I'm from Saskatoon, and the first thing I did is I went straight to the Indigenous Student Services at my university, and their support really helped me. And I just say, honestly, just staying true to yourself and being proud of who you are, and knowing that Indigenous people, we have such a long line of leaders and just strong, we just are very strong, we come from a long line. So just knowing that really helped me, and always being persistent to my goals and hard work, because personally nothing will ever come to you without the hard work, especially as a dancer. I know that firsthand. So stay true and to yourself and to the dreams.
Good stuff, Madison. Congrats on all your hard work and it paying off. And thanks for taking some time for us here today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Great life lessons there, Madison. Thank you. And that's your daytime newscast for this Wednesday, December 18th. We're back again for your evening newscast with more stories. Make sure to join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, hi miigwech, masicho, kwana. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next day.